What up? What up? Y'all listening and watching Battleground podcast. Check it out. This should be a dope one. So
Maybe
don't miss
maybe
it.
they're
Blood
just
and guts.
listening and not watching. You ever thought about that?
They probably are.
Maybe you never know. They
But
have
that's
YouTube
why.
Red.
But this is why I said
Listening and talking
and watching.
and watching.
See?
Sorry. Yeah.
See?
Talking. I don't even know why I said talking.
Anyways,
you're
you
right.
Can follow. You can follow me at Santana_proud at Twitter and Instagram.
Oh, and you can follow me at Ortiz_powerful. You see what we did there? Proud and powerful. You see we're on the same point.
I think they get it.
You have to make sure sometimes. You never know. It might go over some people's head. But hey, tune in to watch Blood and Guts because it's going to be insane. And we're bound to do something crazy and stupid. But guess what? We're going to make sure that people are talking about this match till years from now.
And my name is Santana, and I like to fight.
And my name is Ortiz, and I don't know what I like to do.
All right, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Battleground podcast. It just so happens that there's something big going on this week on AEW. You might have heard of it. It's called Blood and Guts. And it just so happens that we're going to talk to some people that are involved in that horrendous match that's going to take place. But let me go ahead and we add in Eli and we add in Lena to the show real quick. Lena, Eli, how's everybody doing?
Doing good. Excited to be here.
I just lost my light.
Oh no!
Keep going. Keep this in.
It's for dramatic effect.
We'll bring Eli back to the stream here in just a second once we get here. But let's go ahead and bring in our guest who's going to be involved in this match, Blood and Guts. Santana and Ortiz join us from AEW. What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Man, we are super stoked to have you guys on the show. When I had reached out and I was like, hey, can we have somebody to talk to on about Blood and Guts? And they were like, how about Santana Ortiz? And I was like, yes, let's go ahead and get them on here. And now we're going to get Eli back into the mix now. So here we go. And, let's kind of talk about this. This is kind of an interesting thing, full circle moment. We're almost 2 years at the anniversary of you guys showing up at All Out and making your presence known against the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks, which served as your official arrival in AEW. Like, when I watched that, I was like, holy crap. Like, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking of that moment of you guys ripping the masks off and you're just sitting right there. The question I have for you is, like, what has the 2 years been like personally and professionally since joining AEW?
You want to go first, buddy?
You can go.
Yeah. Personally, it's been a wild ride. Recently, I kind of had an epiphany where I felt like, in a way, I was in a little bit of a slump personally, because I felt like I was in such a routine that I needed to break it. I feel like I was getting too complacent, because when we were coming up, man, we were broke, you know what I mean? And now we're very fortunate to be living comfortably. And I kind of I got too comfortable, and something happened to me mentally where I was just like, I need to get hungry again. I need to get back at it. And that's where I'm at now. And professionally, it's been so fulfilling. Like, it's insane, the people we get to work with, the things that we've gotten to do, Stadium Stampede, the parking lot match, other things, that first match with at the first Dynamite, main eventing the first Dynamite ever with Jericho. First time we were in the ring with him. I mean, it's so fulfilling. But not to get too philosophical, but I feel like people, when you see that they're like kind of doing it all, living their dream, doing this, you would expect that person to be the happiest person in the world. But sometimes you get in a rut. And I feel like really the last couple of months I've been I found new purpose in life, and it's awesome. And it has to do a lot with being in AEW, that I'm afforded the opportunities that I have.
Man, it's
awesome. I think that's a big turning point for a lot of people. You know, like, I think that's kind of what separates the men from the boys, really, when you can kind of analyze yourself and be like, I'm just going through the motions. I got to do something. So, I mean, like, that should turn the corner and go in a big direction.
Oh yeah, man. And it's always been our philosophy to never rest on our laurels and to not become complacent. And yeah, I just kind of had that WTF moment. I was just like, man, what's going on? Let's get it together. And luckily my partner is stood by me and deals with my shit. So yeah.
For me, personally, it's been a roller coaster ride, man. I've experienced a lot, not just professionally there, but personally in my life since we've signed there. You know, I lost my dad and my stepdad, and just went through a lot of things personally that you know, really did a did a number on me mentally. You know what I mean? But thankfully, you know, we did have this to keep us going, and we did have that motivation of being dads and being family men, that we knew, you know, we got to pull it together because we have families that depend on us. And you know, thankfully we were able to continue doing that. But yeah, man, it's been a huge learning experience. Just like anything new, you know, you go through in life, you're always gonna start learning new things and learning new situations and how to deal with them. And I think that's been like the name of the game, you know, for me so far. And yeah, it's been a great experience. I always try to take away, you know, big things from every experience that I go through in life. And you know, this is a huge one for me. Professionally, it's been amazing. You know, we're always hungry for more. You know what I mean? And that's the attitude that's always gotten us to where we're at. Is that we always constantly stay hungry, and uh, we always try to keep each other motivated. Of course, you know, we may go through things personally and maybe mentally fall off track, but we always have the same goal and the same purpose, and that's to be the absolute best in whatever we do. You know, and that's no different even today. You know what I mean? Like, we're still those guys. So
For sure. And you know, when you guys showed up at AEW, like when you left Impact, there was all the rumors going around on the internet. Where are they going to end up? Are they going to end up at this company or this company? Did you know that it was going to be AEW, or was there like maybe other offers out there, or did you know for sure we're going to AEW?
um, we had numerous offers from different places, you know, and we took a lot of things into consideration, and Ortiz and I sat down, and you know, we weighed everything out, the pros and cons of from every opportunity that was being presented to us. Um, but as far as the decision making in AEW, for us, our major decision and reasoning behind our decision was that we wanted to continue being dads and being family men and supporting our fams and actually being there. And both of our kids at the time were young. Well, actually, Ortiz, he was just right, like the baby was
Yeah.
just born, and my daughter was still young. And at the time, you know, before the pandemic and stuff, like, you know how the schedule is. It's not a game. You know what I mean? As should is, you know. But one of the main things was that we wanted to be home more and be family men, and at the same time living our dream and you know, supporting our fans doing so.
For sure.
Yeah, to touch on that, it was an insane time to be wanted by everybody. It was just very, very surreal for us because, you know, we're just two punk kids from New York, as my partners said a bunch of times. And, you know, you can say something a million times and wish into existence, but when then it actually happens, it's like, whoa.
Right.
It was really awesome.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, being the hottest free agents, everybody wants you, and clearly you made the right decision with AEW.
I believe so, very much. Yeah.
Well, AEW is so lucky to have you guys. And since y'all started there, you've had several standout moments. Ortiz mentioned the parking lot fight with best friends, which is my personal favorite. So what have been y'all's favorites so far?
For me, that was, I think, the parking lot brawl and also Stadium Stampede were like huge highlights. And like you mentioned earlier, like the first moment we stepped in front of a All Elite Wrestling camera, you know what I mean? Like that moment honestly is going to be with me for the rest of my life. You know, the fact that we were like grinding for, 2-3 years, just all over the world, just trying to get our name as big as we could, and stepping in front of that crowd and unmasking and having that reaction was just the biggest validation of like the hard work that we put into, building ourselves. But yeah, like crazy.
He made me think of a funny story, which is why I smiled. Like leading up to that moment, we just kept telling each other, we're going to take off the mask and we're just not going to get is crickets. No one's gonna react. And we really thought that, like, so many, so that day we was snuck backstage. We literally was like in a room. They just put us in a room. We didn't say hello to anybody. And, we knew a lot of people in the locker room from our time in the Indies and Impact and stuff. So, the whole time we're by ourselves. So we're by ourselves, and all we have is like, we don't have really, we had no cell phone service. It was like, we're sitting in this room. We hear the reaction outside of like all the show going on. We're trying to like get on our phones to find out what's going on the show. We have no idea what's going on.
They didn't even have you like a closed feed back there to watch?
No. We were in the locker room with the SCU. And we just rarely saw them. Oh, the only people that knew we were there were SCU and whatever security guard had brought us in. I forgot which Atlas security guard was with us. And that was it. We just ran in with hoodie on and just ran because they didn't want anything to leak. Mm-hmm. So when we finally were going through, we're like underneath the stage and we're looking at each other, and they were like, and we were like, man, we're not going to get no reaction. Watch. And then we go out. And then when we get that initial reaction, man, the best drug in the world. It was insane. Thinking about it now, I'm getting goosebumps. It was awesome.
And it's cool to go back and watch that moment of like, is it them? Is it not them? And the moment you pull that mask off, and y'all are just there on the ropes and like everybody losing their mind. And like I said earlier, talking about it right now, the hair is standing up on my arms, just thinking about that moment. And I know that's one of those moments that when you hang the boots up, that's going to be one of those top 10 moments.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So this is kind of pulling the curtain back a little bit. There's been a lot of talk of the forbidden door over the last couple months. Specifically the relationship with Impact and AEW, and now Kenny Omega's the Impact World Champion. When did you guys find out that was actually happening? And I mean, what were your initial thoughts?
Initial thoughts is I think it's awesome. I love when wrestling, like old school WWF in the 90s, they would have all these guys. Like that's the first time I ever got introduced to Taka Michinoku, and Michinoku Pro is one of my favorite wrestling of all time. I still watch it to this day.
Junichiro Chenru.
Yeah.
First time I saw him, like I think he was like in the '92 Rumble or something. Like
crazy. Great Sasuke, like all the luchadors that they would bring in. They would just bring in all this talent from everywhere. And I always thought that was awesome. Like always. And now that in a way, AEW is doing the same thing, working with Impact, now working with New Japan, and then who knows who else they'll work with in the future. But I think that's always cool. Yuji Nagata, like what?
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome.
It's just always good. It's just always good for the business in general. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, we're here to please the wrestling fans, and the wrestling fans are the ones that are winning right now. I think this is one of the best times to be into wrestling, and like just with everything going on, and it's definitely a fun time.
For sure. And like, is there like a fanboy moment that you guys had when like somebody showed up, whether it be like Sting or like, what was your mind like when that happened, when Sting showed up? Because I mean, all of us are fans of Sting. As you can tell, I've got the bat up there from when he was inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame. So,
oh, that's pretty awesome.
What was that moment like backstage? Because I know a lot of people said it was very quiet.
Oh, yeah. I will tell you my personal experience. I was literally talking to Sammy Guevara, and we were just, I don't know, we were BSing about his vlog or something. I can't remember. And then all of a sudden, I guess my back was turned, and someone like kind of squealed and made a sound. And I kind of looked back, And they were like, yo, did you see Sting? And I'm like, what? Because no one knew he was there. Like, no one knew backstage. Basically, it was kind of similar to our debut. They try to keep everything tight on the wraps because they don't want anything being leaked out to the sheets or anything. So yeah, so me and like Sammy Fanboy like crawled to Gorilla and looking over, and we're like, oh my god, this is actually I felt like we were in high school. It was a really cool moment to see a bunch of grown people act like 10-year-olds. It was cool. It was awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man. So recently we chatted with the Briscoes from Ring of Honor, who said in regards to working with other promotions, the team that they would love to face that they never had before was FTR. Who are some of the teams that you have never faced, but you would love the opportunity to go at it?
Off the top, for sure, Motor City Machine Guns. They have eluded us. Unfortunately, they came into the company after we left, which I'm still like right now, but as you mentioned earlier, with the forbidden door open,
yep.
I mean, hopefully it could happen one day, but definitely Motor City Machine Guns would probably be at the top of our list.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came back, and I mean, they can still go too, man. Jeez, they haven't missed a step.
Oh yeah.
Well, there have been discussions since the launch of AEW about a proposed 6-man tag team championship. And do you see that as something beneficial to AEW? And if so, who would you pick as your other partner?
Ooh, who would we pick as our other partner? I mean, Sammy, we match really well with. I mean, we have plenty of options with the Inner Circle. You know
That's
what I mean?
true.
Yeah, but we've done a few trio matches with Sammy and Jericho, even with Jake. We've done triple teams. Any other member of the Inner Circle would fit perfectly because they add their own element to it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Jake being more of the powerhouse, the brute, like someone you don't want to F with. And then Sammy is just insane. Sammy just will do about anything. Like they have to talk Sammy down from doing the craziness that he wants to do. Like I think Sammy wouldn't be standing today if they would have greenlit some of the things he wanted to do in Stadium Stampede. He's a special individual.
I mean,
Jericho to him.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Ricky Starks on the show not too long ago, and we were sitting there, and all of a sudden, here comes Sammy just waltzing into the interview.
He just waltzes in his room.
Yeah, sounds about right. But to answer your question about it being beneficial, for sure. I mean, there's so many people on the roster, and I think having a belt like that, or a title, or a tournament, whatever they decide to do, it would be beneficial to get some spotlight on guys that haven't had the opportunities to showcase really what they can do. I mean, if you keep up with Elevation or Dark, you'll see in small parts of what some of these people can do. But man, all we need is more time, because if people have more time, you could really truly see how talented our roster is. And I think implementing that would be awesome and beneficial towards the workers.
Yeah, it would just be another way to tell stories, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if it was something like, you two, somehow got paired up with like MJF, and then y'all won the 6-man title. And then it's, you kind of have that contention, and all that. So, yeah. Okay, cool. So that leads into the next question. So after some ups and downs, especially over the last, 6 to 8 months, bringing in MJF, Wardlow, and then, the fallout from all that, what is the current status of the Inner Circle? Do you think you guys are stronger than ever? There's still some wounds need to be healed. Like where do you guys think you're at right now?
I definitely think we're stronger than ever, because like we said it before, like we were onto Max's game since day one. You know what I mean? We just wanted to let him be a child and play his little game. You know what I mean? When you have a veteran like Jericho knew the same thing. He was just allowing Max to dig himself into an even deeper hole. And he may have surprised us a bit with having this whole game plan of having a faction. But when you're standing across from us in the Inner Circle, I mean,
it's gonna
what more can you say, right?
It's gonna be brutal, because I remember, and I had sent this tweet out when that big brawl had happened backstage. And I was like, if this isn't the blood and guts match, I don't know what's happening. And like, I remember like Sammy liked it, and I think maybe you two guys liked it, and a couple other people. And then all of a sudden it was like blood and guts, Inner Circle, Pinnacle. And I was like, that's it. This is going to be the match. I think that this will be, we're only 5 months into the year. This will be match of the year. I guarantee it. I will call that right now on this show that will be match of the year.
I appreciate that.
And Dave Meltzer will throw 6 stars at this match instead of 5.
Let's see.
And, speaking of Blood and Guts, which is Wednesday night on TNT, which you can watch it at 8/7 Central. How is this match different from any battle you've faced in your career? Because it seems like this match particularly has become incredibly personal.
Yeah, I mean, we've just us two personally have been in a bunch of matches that have been as violent as this is setting up to be.
And very personal.
And very personal, yes. But in each man individually, like, Jericho's had wars. Sammy, like I stated earlier, is just a maniac, and Jake has had legitimate wars in the octagon or in an MMA cage. I would say this is probably, as a team, this is our first cage match. You know what I mean? They'll actually be metal on the side, so that adds a whole new element to it. But our past has really prepared us for this, but it'll be different. It'll be a different challenge because we have a cage to our disposal, and also just how our brains work. We're going to want to do some innovative stuff, or we're going to want to try to do some, find an innovative way to almost kill our opponents.
Almost. Just enough that it can still be aired on cable TV.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people forget that,
I don't want to get arrested.
The cage keeps you inside, but it's also a weapon. I mean, you're surrounded by a huge weapon. Just throw them in the cage,
Mm-hmm.
Well, tonight on YouTube, this episode we're doing right now will be released tomorrow, but tonight is the road to Blood and Guts. So can y'all tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, definitely check that out. It's I got to see a little teaser of it like the other day, and it's looking really good. There's some like, the great thing about AEW is its ability to tell stories, and that's if you paid attention to this whole storyline, that's exactly it. We're just telling a crazy story, but this road to is definitely special, and the way they hyped it up and built up the match, and it's going to be cool. I can't wait for everyone to see it.
I personally always love the road twos because I'm a huge boxing fan, and I love the 24/7s and kind of like the behind the scenes of people training and stuff like that. And our road twos kind of remind me of that, like with the narrator and the way there's certain clips that they use. I love how they put everything together, and it just adds a different element, and it kind of tells a deeper story. And I love them, and I can't wait to watch it after this. I'm actually going to sit down and watch it because like Santana, I've only seen a little snippet, but yeah.
Speaking of boxing, who do you have, Mayweather or Paul?
Mayweather all day, man. That's not even a question.
I actually ended up buying the Paul and Askren fight, and I was like, what am I watching? Like, this is a train wreck.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of Mayweather for the first time, not because of his money and skill, but because he's going to knock that kid out. I'm very jealous.
If I had the ability to make the money that they make as easy as they make it, bro.
Man, no joke.
We would change professions right now.
Exactly.
I mean, I can't blame those Paul kids for doing that. That's smart. You're right. I mean, if you're in a halfway decent attraction kind of fight, I mean, that's millions of bucks, and like you said, one night, 6-8 months training, one fight. I mean, I can't fault him.
I think I saw like Askren was like getting paid $700,000, and he took that one little punch and and it showed him backstage just chilling, like it didn't even hurt him.
I would have been the same exact way. Sign me up.
I'll take a punch real quick.
Yeah. And he got I think he got buys for whatever the pay-per-view in the house was too. So I think it was like 700 grand flat, and on top of that, all the other money that he got
Back
from the
end
fight.
stuff. Oh,
So that's
smart.
why he had that smile. He's
Oh,
like, I
for
just
sure.
paid off my
He walked
mortgage.
out like he was like, I just got a check. I ain't worried about this.
Yep.
I'd be the same way.
Yeah.
Well, to the surprise of a lot of people watching, you guys have not held the AEW World Tag Team titles, which is surprising. In the blur, I kind of see you guys with the belts, but obviously that hasn't happened yet. Is that, in the back of your minds, is that still the ultimate goal for you guys in AEW?
Always. There's nothing more important than gold, the championships, and that's why we do it. And the gold just signifies that you're the best at what you do. The tag team gold signifies you're the best tag team. The heavyweight champion signifies you're the best heavyweight. You know what I mean? The women's champion, etc. As it goes down the line. And yeah, that's always the goal, is to be the best. And that's always been our goal since day one. So yeah, for sure. That's always in the back of our mind, and that will forever be our focus, for sure.
And like I said earlier, if there's anything AEW is good at, it's storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And everything has its purpose, everything has its story. So
yeah,
I think I think starting out the very first pay-per-view having Dustin versus Cody, that story was just perfect.
One of my favorite matches. It's
I'll tell you off camera, but
it's a good story. I know
it is a good story, yeah. But I mean, I think that's part of the appeal, is that like AEW kind of draws kind of maybe the athletics of the indies, but then like the storytelling of like the corporate, like WWE,
the old school stuff.
Yeah, and so they're kind of right in the middle, so they can kind of bridge that gap. Because I mean, I've got friends that grew up just watching like the Attitude Era, and they couldn't name one indie guy. They wouldn't even know if y'all are indie guys or not, but they love AEW because it's like all these fresh faces, but then it's this kind of the same traditional storylines. Some of them are,
Yeah.
Of course, AEW Blood and Guts is live Wednesday night, 8/7 Central on TNT. It's going to be one hell of a match. But something really cool, and this has got to be a cool moment for you guys, of having your own action figures. And I talked to a friend of mine, Ray Solario, and he said it's got to be really cool for the Latin community seeing Ortiz with the flip-flop. And then also my son, who is finally kind of figuring out his family heritage background, and he's Puerto Rican, and seeing Santana with the flag. And, was that something you always wanted to have with your figure, or how did that all come in about?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, we're probably the first figures in wrestling history to actually have Puerto Rican representation.
Yeah.
So it is definitely something very important to us, and something that we were like, yes, I think it's, what we represent and what we do for our people, man, that was like icing on the cake, and having our own action figures on top of that. I've told the story before. Wrestling figures is what sparked this whole thing for me. My grandparents, were the first ones to introduce me to having figures and stuff like that. And I mean, forget it. My entire childhood, that's what it was about. So to finally, for my life to come full circle and finally be able to hold and open an action figure of me, it's insane. It's surreal.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Fortunately for us, Jazzwares, or whoever was the middleman in between the two, they were very forthcoming with what they wanted, and they asked us a bunch of questions. They were like, "What do you want on your figure? Like, what do you want to get across?" And then Santana was like, "I definitely need a Puerto Rican flag," and then he even suggested it. He was like, my partner should have the chancla. And I was just like, yeah, hell yeah. It really awesome. We were very fortunate that they communicated with us, and we were able to have some say in our figures rather than it just pops up and whatever. And I think they did a great job. They went above and beyond with us, because we basically have two figures in one, because we have interchangeable head, different hands. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is I have been to Walmart and Targets because I see everybody posting about your figure, and I have been everywhere trying to find your guys' stuff. completely sold out. And
I've
also
never
got,
even seen them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Battle sent me a picture of them, but I didn't.
and
never
I've
seen
got
them
a
anywhere.
4-year-old who doesn't understand what my toys are. And I had the entire series 1, and I came upstairs the other day and all the boxes were just ripped open and they're all just laying there. So I was just like,
Oh man,
it was the most
Ah.
heartbreaking thing. The only thing I have left is a Cody figure, which is sitting up top of that Steam
man.
bag. But definitely have to get my hands on your guys' action figures. And once we start touring again and you guys come through Nashville, definitely have to get you guys to sign those. But
For sure.
Hell yeah.
where can people keep up with you online? And I know, Santana, you just got a new clothing line dropping,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah, man. It's been cool. The last few days have been real interesting and humbling. So it's been cool. It's always been a passion project for me. I've always been into clothing and graphic tees and stuff like that. So I guess I savvy myself pretty creative and stuff like that. So yeah, I was like, let's try it out. Let's see what's up. And it's been great. And just all the ideas that I have flown and I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of it. It's going to be dope.
Exciting stuff. Ortiz, you got anything on the horizon for anybody?
No.
Go wrestle and go home.
As I stated earlier, man, I made certain small goals for myself, and maybe eventually I will get there. But I learned that I can't put a lot on my plate at once because then I'll just procrastinate and I won't get it done. So right now I'm just really focusing on just fixing my injuries, getting into top tier shape, and becoming a better Spanish speaker. So I'm like Duolingoing it up in Spanish. So
Nice.
yeah.
Well, I will tell you, kind of going back to the question about you guys not having the tag team titles, you are in good hands because we had SCU on the show. They became tag team titles. We had the Young Bucks on the show. They became tag team champions. FTR, they became tag team champions. So, I mean, if history repeats itself, you guys are next in line to get those tag team titles.
Now, if we don't, we got beef. I'm just saying.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so we've only had one instance where that happened, and it was when Finn Juice came on and they had the IWGP titles, and then they lost them 2 nights later after they came on our show. But that doesn't count.
Yeah, well, they are the
Correct,
Impact tag champs right now.
So that works too.
There you go.
But of course, AEW Blood and Guts is Wednesday night, 8/7 Central on TNT. Santana and Ortiz going to be in the big main event. Hopefully, you guys will not get too terribly hurt and you won't be miserable the next day. But thank you guys so much for being on the show tonight with us.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was
Appreciate
a pleasure.